Hello everybody, I'm Pontius Porcius, and welcome back again to Unexpected Awesome. A couple of weeks back, I was scrolling through Prime looking for a good movie to pass a few hours with, and amongst them I spotted not only movies I'd never seen before, but I also spied amongst them an old favorite of mine, one that I watched numerous times throughout my youth, and one that I decided to revisit. Upon rewatching it, I discovered some new flaws, but I also discovered some new depths and strengths to it. 1996's Broken Arrow is one of John Woo's best movies, a nuclear western set to a mad dash across the Utah desert, where a stoic yet empathetic Air Force pilot tries to prevent his arrogant rival from ransoming off the Southwest to the U.S. government in order to prevent a yeehaw Chernobyl. It is possibly one of his most underrated and surgically concise films I think I've ever seen. The familiar strengths of the film flowed back to me. The punchy practical effects-laden action set pieces that take place in the definition of a variety of locations, which include but are not limited to a crumbling mineshaft torn apart by gunfire, the chugging top of cattle cars, or even perhaps the best action in the movie, a foot/Humvee chase in order to get two nuclear weapons away from madmen, clearly shot, sharply edited, practical effects making every single gunshot and explosion hit like a truck. The set pieces in this movie are among the best that John Woo has ever directed, yet also they're among some of the worst, with one of the biggest flaws in the movie being how the action sometimes goes on in ways in which characters behave against their own motivations in order to make the set pieces cooler, including the penultimate fistfight of the movie that is designed to mirror the opening sparring match that sets up the primary characters of the film. Our main character not only puts down a shotgun at point-blank range while his opponent is dangling the nuclear carrot in front of him, but also he decides to drop a crowbar where the Southwest is a mere seconds away from becoming Pripyat 2.0, specifically so that way he can punch him out with his bare fists in order to solidify that comparison. However, despite these handful of ridiculous moments, the action still stands up and is still some of the most stylish and gloriously gory that I've ever seen from John Woo. There's also the simple fact that the soundtrack in this movie is absolutely amazing. Composed by none other than the living legend Hans Zimmer himself, it's easily one of his most distinctive soundtracks, with his bluesy guitar riff and fanciful synth-infused primary theme to set the tone perfectly for every scene of character development, tension, levity, or even just pure chugging action. However, the real underknown element of this movie's strength, as well as its biggest weakness, is honestly its script. By none other than Graham Yost, this movie has possibly one of the most concise stories I think I've ever seen in one of Woo's movies. It's a story in which a rivalry based out of competitiveness and a degree of resentment and mutual respect that these two characters have for each other drives the main plot and the clash of their personalities. Christian Slater and John Travolta especially bring these characters to magnificent, charismatic life, with Slater making the soft-spoken yet humble Hale come across not only as remarkably empathetic, but also a scrappy badass who wins by the skin of his teeth, and this is contrasted perfectly by the over-the-top, charismatic, and spiteful Deakins, played to overacting perfection by none other than a surprisingly ranged John Travolta. Pair this duo up with room for a third from Samantha Mathis's remarkably professional as well as equally scrappy park ranger, and you got some amazing scenes of action and character development to help invest you. Overall, there's enough attention to detail and continuity to make sure you understand that there is a practical reason for things happening. The park ranger is there because she was sent to investigate the suspicious activities of Deacon's cohorts as they set up the drop site to pick up the nukes. Deakins is established from the beginning not only to resent and rebel against the Air Force authority, but also to be extremely competitive, and Hale is set up from the very beginning to be the respectful underdog who initially takes his lumps, but now with no choice but to stand up and try to protect America from what was once his trusted compatriot, he finds himself scrappily fighting to save the day with a similarly scrappy and dutiful park ranger. All in all, Broken Arrow is one of the most straightforward times you'll ever have. It's a nuclear western with slow-mo dual-wielding gunfights, all from the context of an underdog finally having his day. So in conclusion, check it out and stay golden.